Divine Feminine. So, have you been questioning your union with your masculine? If so, have you considered how you interpreted his behavior and assimilated that information into yourself, to integrate it into yourself? Have you considered the story that you created in order to survive the transformation that your ego had to experience? So I'll give a great example. I think it's a great example. It was my masculine reflected to me or presented to me a characteristic that I had not been involved with before. So let's assume like I've always dealt with this type of qualities, and then here comes a quality that's, although it feels very familiar, but I've never seen it. I've never interacted with it live in person. This aspect within myself that was in the shadow, that I didn't know how to put it, that I never had a visual of. So it's like, oh, I feel this version of me. I know that this is the version of me that is me. Okay? This is me. And then when you see it in front of you, you're like, this is me. This is a representation of my me. It brings out all these things. So the example that I would give is, before I go into the examples, something else is that the things about you that you did not like or didn't notice or didn't consider as the most beautiful parts of you, suddenly when you see your masculine, all of those things are projected as if, wow, it's all the things you love, all the things that you love about him. You think it's because it's him. And when you realize, holy crap, this was me. I'm looking at the parts of me I never knew. I never saw them. It's like you never saw them in the light. So you were always seeing those parts of you in the darkness. So you were either ashamed of them, embarrassed of them. You hid them. You only shared them with certain people, only because they felt like, oh, if this won't be well received. If I share this with this person, they're not gonna like it. Or I attempted to be this way around this person and they reacted really weird or acted, in a very negative way, to the point that I decided this is a part of me I cannot express. This is a part of me that I shouldn't talk about, or this is a part of me that I shouldn't be. So meeting the masculine, it wasn't things that you personally would have been ashamed of, embarrassed of, or anything. It's that when you did this, or when you showed yourself in those ways, the world responded in a way that it didn't match. And instead of it making you feel accepted and loved and okay being who you are, it made you feel that those were parts of you that were unacceptable. Those are parts of you that you need to fix. Those are parts of you that you needed to evolve, develop, or maybe even just bring out in a new way. Bring out in a way that you're going to make them see why you should accept it. You're going to make them see why it is beautiful, why it is, why your reaction might have been, not you, but the people that didn't receive that energy the right way, why they would have feared it to the point that they would react in a negative way to it before even processing it and correcting their perception and try to make you not feel bad about it. So it's like it's unintentionally making you feel bad for who you are. I don't think people outright, treat you in a certain way on purpose. I think it's, unconscious, and that's a human experience. We experience, we have a lot of unconscious things in our human development. I would assume that collectively speaking, we're not all privy to deeper aspects based on our upbringing and how open we're allowed to be in our self-expression. That self-expression is necessary because it's part of who you are as a whole. And when you're only giving a percentage of who you are to the world, the greater potential of your human experience, the greater potential of your dynamics with others doesn't manifest. And that's why people live very just okay lives, okay, it is what it is. I got what I got and I just have to live with it. Never just accept I gotta live with it. Always assume that your life can be improved. And so back to what I was saying, have you ever considered that when you looked at your masculine and you thought, this is my masculine, nothing to do with me, because it was like, wow, so different. Wow, the energy just feels so good, but so something I've never experienced before, because you never experienced yourself. You never felt your essence being reflected back to you in such a way that was so beautiful to you. It's like the reflection was dark. Now it was brought to light. So this masculine had how do I put it? Their ego was very well developed. A well-developed ego that was a great reflection for you, because a part of your ego that you kept in the dark, now you were able to express those aspects. You had a reflection that it was inspired. It illuminated your darkness. It illuminated what it was that you were seeing. Oh my God, this is, I love how they expressed this aspect of themselves. It feels so me. It feels so like myself. And then somehow when you look within yourself and you tap into that space that is you're like, you have all this resource of you have all this resource that you can use to express yourself, and it comes via that connection. And I cannot speak for the other party, but I can say that if I experienced it, then it's because it was a mutual thing. You cannot experience something alone. I remember there was a time where it was like, I felt a certain way, and I doubted the connection, and I remember the person was like, "Oh, I'm here too." In other words, this experience isn't just in your head. This experience is mutual. Otherwise, it wouldn't be. So it's like the fact that it's happened, and I guess maybe that was like a traumatized way of looking at the world, was because when people gaslight you, when people deny an experience, like for example, two people have a moment, they fall in love or whatever, and the person wants to just deny that, and then you're like, how could I have been so wrong? It really messes with your head in some ways. So in that sense, I think that was a trauma response, and I think that was a lot of the healing that had to happen, was learning to trust what you feel And despite, and I'm not saying, don't take someone's boundary, their word, because at the end of the day, they're responsible for what they put out. So if they put out a boundary that doesn't allow you to be in their space, you're not going to cross that boundary. You're going to have to respect that boundary. And you respect it simply, I feel like there's that energy where they want you to know that what they're showing you is false, to prove that you know what the connection is. You don't have to prove what the connection is. You know what the connection is. And you're wondering, why are you putting on this front that I know isn't really there? So it's like, but it also reflects a way to be for you. It's like, it teaches you how little boundaries you may have had, how little boundaries you may have had with others, not for the sake of others so much as for your protection. I think many times you may have created boundaries for other people. Like, how do I put it? Boundaries for other people in the sense like, for your sake, stay away from me. Move away from me at this moment because I don't want to deal with you. That could be like a boundary. I'm doing this for you because I know when you need to not be in my space. But I don't know when you can't have me in your space. So it's like, it's hard to explain. It's like the receiving versus giving of energy, or the projecting versus the receiving. Damn it. I kind of lost sight of what I was saying, but I think you understand what I mean. I think what I'm trying to express here is that the masculine had a way of personal boundaries that were probably not familiar, they were probably in your shadow. You didn't realize it was even a boundary that was necessary, but developing that, assimilating that, or being reflected that, it's like, oh, a boundary was supposed to be here and I didn't even know. Oh, a boundary was supposed to be here and I didn't even know. Like, you weren't aware because it was in the dark, kind of thing. It's like looking at a blueprint of a house in darkness and not realizing, I'm horrible with these examples. Like, that certain walls were supposed to be in places, right? Like, oh, you mean the living room or like the bathroom shouldn't be in the middle of the living room, right? No, it shouldn't. Yet the space was like all convoluted to develop your ability to not only sense what you're feeling, to know where you are in spirit, but also it helped you when you look at the world, when you interact with the world, you're more prepared for what's on the other side of the interaction. I think maybe perhaps when you look at the world and you're just seeing one, from your perspective out, you can be very sure what you're doing. But if you're not noticing from what's going on in that darkness behind the scenes that surrounds you, you're vulnerable. You subject yourself to exposing things that should be hidden, or to hiding things that should be exposed. Did that make sense? I sure hope I did. All right, so that was that. I think that was that. Was that all? Yeah, so the masculine. So the masculine had that quality that was yours, meaning, oh Lordy, I'm a little bit messing with my hair again. I can't see the stragglers. All right. The masculine has this quality that reflected. It's like you didn't just see the masculine. What you saw was spiritually, the shape of your heart. That sounds funny. That's from a song. What you saw was the shape of your heart. The shape of your heart. He represents the shape of your heart. Take that as you will. But that's how it is. That's how I heard it. But it's like he may feel for you or have felt for you unfamiliar. And as you develop your senses about yourself, the more you understood yourself, the more you understood the connection, the more you were able to see that the parts that he revealed to you were the parts that were in the shadows within you. And vice versa. I guess that's all, folks. I'll come back soon with another message. Take care.